Lego Spider-Man is a character that almost everybody knows, specifically either whether it being from the games or just from the little Marvel TV show that's on YouTube or whatever. But I honestly just felt like it would be a quite funny video to make for an April Fool's video of could Lego Spider-Man survive the entirety of the Insomniac Universe? They're already basically in the same-ish realm due to the fact that they were both in Across the Spider-Verse, so I just wanted to make this video for the sheer fun of it. So obviously, to get this video started off, we're just going to start off with Spider-Man 1 and continue it on from there. In this, we're really just going to be discussing all of the big boss battles because there's not really much need to discuss any of the small tier villains because he would, no matter what, still be able to defeat them and get through them. Even if it's with some difficulty, it's still going to be fairly easy. I'm not really going to spend any time actively talking about what his specific abilities and everything are because it is still just Spider-Man Peter Parker with a different twist, the main thing being his infinite respawn, which is one thing that I'm actively mainly going to be discussing throughout the entirety of the video. So we could really just straight dive into it. Obviously, the first battle that we're going to have him go through would be the Vulture and Electro fight. I really wouldn't even see this being too much of a problem strictly due to the fact that this is a Spider-Man that's used to going up against a lot of different types of threats in terms of Green Goblin, Venom, and a lot of heavy hitters like that. So these two could be dealt with, even if it is kind of be some kind of hard since this is like a new kind of opponent that he's facing in a completely like new universe. He still has his infinite respawn. So even if like he gets hit by Electro's blast and he ends up dying somehow, he just loses a few coins and comes right back and then just completely does it over and over again until he eventually either wears them out and beats them or just beats them straight up, which I honestly see a fairly high likelihood of him just being able to beat them eventually either way. Even maybe he doesn't even have to die once, maybe. But in all fairness, this wouldn't be extremely too much of a big challenge for him because this is how a lot of the fights are going to go. I really just say that strictly due to the fact that, let's be fair here, they might have some kind of abilities, but he would be able to still evade and do a lot of the same maneuverings that regular Insomniac Spider-Man was able to do because at this point in time, they have basically the same gear of abilities and a lot of other things. So it's not going to be too much of a very big hassle for him to take both of them on. The next fight we would have would be the Rhino and the Scorpion fight. This fight would be a little different from the last one, strictly due to the fact that Rhino and Scorpion have a little different moveset compared to Electro and Vulture. Specifically meaning that Lego Spider-Man is most likely going to die quite a few times in this battle, strictly due to the fact that Rhino is fairly decently strong, and strictly also due to the fact that Scorpion's abilities are going to be quite of an annoyance. So I honestly just see it going somewhere along the lines of they're fighting, and he's just getting hit left, right, center, getting yeeted every which way, and it is just him dying, coins falling, dying, coins falling, dying, coins falling, until he finally kind of gets a grasp of how they're moving, how their strengths are working, and eventually is able to take them out with the abilities that he does have, because he still has his spidey sense, he still has his ability to make webs, and he still has all of those things. And in all fairness, I'm kind of nerfing him at this exact moment, strictly due to the fact, because if we were doing it the correct way and doing it the way that it really should be done, this wouldn't even be an extreme battle for him. He would just be able to take these guys out with probably one shot using any of the other random abilities that he has, like him just switching into like a black suit version of himself or whatever. But I'm going to leave that for once we actually get to the actual Spider-Man 2 game. So if we just continue with going off of that, he dies so many times during the Rhino fight, but it's just them getting strictly pissed off due to the fact that he's just coming back to life every single time and they can't do anything. As soon as they think that, oh yeah, he's dead, all they hear is cha-ching, and then he's right behind them, and he just continues the fight like nothing happened. As this would really get an annoying for them, and as soon as they get irritated enough, he's going to be able to take the W right there and then. The fight against Mr. Negative would be a completely different can of worms, strictly due to the abilities that Mr. Negative has. This would be a fight where every time he dies, it would actually be more of a blessing because he would come back without any of the drawbacks of having to deal with Mr. Negative's effects that would be having on him. So he would be able to come back and Mr. Negative would have to repeat the process, but every time that he would even die, it would just be right back. He's fine. He can get a couple hits in, and it would just eventually, one, get annoying for Mr. Negative, and two, Spider-Man would be able to eventually just overtake him completely the same way that he did in game. And it wouldn't even be as hard of a process because, yes, he would die a couple times, but the annoyance that would be happening would be more of an irritation to everybody else that's going against him. It would just be a fight that eventually it would just be, okay, he's fine. Like, I'm back. I'm good. Come on, let's continue it on. And everyone's just getting pissed off. Like, he's able to deal with all of these many extreme opponents without having too much of a hassle, having too much of a problem, or anything really going too bad to happen to him. Because he's, as I said, he still has his spidey sense, so he's still able to evade a good portion of a lot of the hits. And even if he does miss one, die, or just get hit hard enough that he wouldn't normally die, he's right back, not having any problems, and he's just whooping and kicking and whooping and kicking the entire way through. And for the next one, while Lego Spider-Man has never fought in this specific version of Doc Ock, he has fought his own version of Doc Ock in many different occasions for his own Lego version of Doc Ock. But if we're really just getting into this specific fight, it won't be extremely too hard for him because, as I said, he's already fought his own version of Doc Ock, so he would be able to at least understand the movements and be able to evade a little easier due to the fact that he already understands a good basis of everything that's going around. He would fight, he might die once or twice, maybe a few times, but since he already understands the motionings and everything that would be going on, it's not going to be him having too much of a hard time struggling with everything that's going on. He would be able to deal with it and maneuver out of his way fairly easily. Doc Ock would be taken out for the count without really too much of a hesitation. When it comes to the Sinister Six fight, this would be a very big challenge, yes, but no matter how many times he dies, eventually he will be able to beat them, whether he just tires them out or whether he actively does a lot of the same things that Insomniac Spider-Man would have done in that same situation where he's just able to kind of pull out a W. Like, don't get me wrong, he's going to die so much during the Sinister Six battle. Like, I mean, so much. It's going to be, whether it's 30 deaths, 40 deaths, 100 deaths, he's going to die, and die. But eventually, he'll probably be able to, one, pull off the win because every time he dies, he comes back completely rejuvenated. So even if he had like something broken or something completely aching or whatever, as soon as he dies, he comes right back. He has like perfect health and he's just going right back into the fight, be dealing and feeling amazingly. So he's not going to be having too much problems there, which is going to be a very big help for him. But if we just completely get through the entirety of Insomniac, like one game, he'll survive only because he cannot die. If we weren't going off that assumption, oh yeah, bro is dead like over like 200 times over in this entire situation. For any of the events of the Spider-Man Miles Morales video game, we could really just either skip it, but I'm not going to just because I actually want to just discuss what it would really be like. If we have it just be where Lego Spider-Man takes over that entirety of the situation too, it actively goes quite a bit easier for him than it did go for Miles because Miles has all of these extra abilities that Roxxon had to deal with and the Tinkerer had to deal with, so they had to adapt for him. But if Miles isn't in the situation, it's just basically them being in their base abilities without having any extra stuff added to it. This meaning there's nothing going on with Roxxon adding all of these upgrades to their suits so they're like even harder and stronger to deal with. So it's really just going to be Spider-Man being able to take out any of the regular Roxxon workers fairly easy. They're not extremely too difficult for him to be dealing with because he doesn't have any Venom abilities. And when it comes to him dealing with anything like the Tinkerer, yes, that would be a hard fought battle, but as we've already stated, bro cannot die. He is just going to be playing around at some point and just really be doing exactly whatever he feels like, not really even taking anything seriously in any real format. He's just going to be joking around and eventually take the entirety of the Miles Morales video game situation and deal with it insanely quickly, way quicker than Miles would have been able to because he's not having to deal with all of these extra heartaches and headaches and things like that. He can just get through the entirety of the main story way faster than he would have been able to. And since he doesn't have anything to do with like someone like Aaron and things like that, there's not really any big subplots that he has to deal with the Prowler. And even if he had to deal with the Prowler, he could take on the Prowler fairly quickly. So that's not really too much of a big deal. But as I said, entirety of the Miles Morales video game, taken out, not really too big of a hassle. Now, when we discuss someone like Craven, that is where the fight actually becomes truly hard, due to the fact that Craven 1 was able to take down, as I've already said in previous videos, and obviously known, all of Spider-Man's villains from the first game himself. Lego Spider-Man would have a very hard time dealing with somebody like Craven. He would most likely die multiple upon multiple times just trying to deal with Craven. It would probably eventually get to the point where he would actively end up in the same situation as Insomniac Spider-Man, where he needs to go grab a Venom suit, and that's where we could actively get the fight started. If we have that kind of situation, it's really just him using the Venom symbiote and being able to take down Craven eventually without having to die as many times. And Craven would be kind of really pissed off if this guy is just coming back to life and coming back to life and coming back to life every time that he dies. But obviously this is really just for jokes, so that's really the point of it. Everyone's pissed off that this guy is not dying whatsoever. He's just coming right back and pissing everybody off. And even if we go dealing with like someone like the Venom fight, this entire fight would really just be him dying and coming back, and Venom being aggravated, irritated, and even him being able to actively transform it into his own Venom suit, just from like the fact that his own games allow him to do that. It would really just be situations like that. And even then, he wouldn't be able to die either way, so he would survive that entire ordeal. He would survive that entire fight and have really no problems trying to deal with anything like that. That entire fight with either both of them or almost any of the other lower tier villains, it would just be him having a complete field day, dying and coming back, really laughing and just playing around the entirety of the fight with anybody that he has to face. So when it comes to could Lego Spider-Man survive the Insomniac Universe? Yes, absolutely, due to the fact that he simply would not be able to die. Hence why this was the perfect video for April Fool's Day video, because the title is in itself hilarious, because he wouldn't be able to die in the first place. Assuming he has enough coins to just complete surviving and coming back and just coming back and coming back and coming back, he's never going to be able to actively lose anything. And if we're just applying any logic from his own world, it would be him being able to gain more coins as he's fighting and going along the entire thing. So he's not going to be dying anytime soon. He wouldn't be able to die, period. He would just be playing around with anybody and everybody and just having a complete field day the entire time of the way through. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to get caught up to any other videos that will be coming out if you guys do enjoy this video. But comment down below if you guys have any other video ideas that you guys would like me to do, more realistic ones, please, because this obviously was an April Fool's Day video. But I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.